Good evening. And this is a special stream dedicated to the victims of police abuse. And we're actually talking about police abuse because of the current things that have happened. So, this is my stream tonight. I'm actually talking about certain stuff that actually happened within that community. So, if anybody's listening, feel free to like the channel, talk about it, or anything. Okay. So we have anybody that want to actually all right. So if anybody's hearing me, so the topic tonight is about police abuse. So anybody who's in the chat right now, please feel free to chime. All right, so I'm just here. All right, so all right. Anybody hears me at this point? All right. Anybody hears me at this point? Yeah, so I'm just still waiting for anybody who's a guest. Anybody. So I'm still waiting for anybody who's a guest or anything of that matter to talk about who's about the ways that people are actually being policed or unpoliced. So, like I said, I'll put the link in the description. Anybody can feel free to chime through or chime in about this topic. Yeah, I actually did. Mm. The topic is actually about police brutality and how does it affect us and what can we do to actually protect ourselves and not be a victim of police brutality the right way or what actions we could actually take. All right. How you doing, Ramon? How you doing?
What's going on, Armando? What's going on? Thanks for having me. Everything all right?
Not. Yeah. Yeah. Everything's good. We're just talking about police brutality. With the recent happenings of the
What happened? You're talking about the guy that was killed on camera.
yes.
The thing is that when it comes to the whole policing, if you try to make an argument about it over race, there is gonna be somebody who's gonna bring up that actually white folks are the ones that are getting killed by the police the most. I mean, I don't have numbers. I haven't seen numbers that will back it up, but that's the kind of like the argument. I mean, and nobody wants to be pulled over. No, nobody wants to. But one thing that I have done, because I have been pulled over, it can happen to anyone, is that I just keep my mouth shut as much as I can and give yes or no answers. I mean, that has actually helped me. That has actually helped me because if I keep my mouth shut as much as I can, sometimes it could have been like it happened to me. Like I just change lanes without putting my blinker, for example, or or I was coming out of the complex that I live in, and a school bus was approaching, and I shouldn't have come out onto the street, and I have been pulled over for that. But on those instances, all I can want to do is keep cool and not argue, because there are people that think that they can argue their way out of a ticket or something. They're only making the matter worse. I mean, that might be that might work in television, but in real life, you just don't want to do that. You just keep cool, don't argue. Yes, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. That's basically what I say for the most part. Um, and usually, because I'm not being argumentative, they might just let me go because sometimes they're looking for that. Maybe what you did wasn't that big of a deal, but they're trying to look for a way to see if they can catch an easy arrest by like trying to trying to see how you react, trying to see if you will say something. And I just keep quiet.
Yeah. Me, I'll be like, okay. For example, I mean, if you, like, I guess certain people, as you know, I don't really drive, so if I ever got pulled over by the police, I'll just the passenger.
Hmm.
And one day, when I was with my ex, because she was driving, the police pulled me over, right? So I had like a prior arrest or whatever, right? So there was like, oh, so do you have any whatever? I was like, no. So they were just being total jerks and everything like that. And the other police was actually screaming at my ex. And my ex like, why the heck you doing this? I'm like, and she was like, okay, you're scaring me. And me and the officers, we were arguing and everything like that. I mean, in New York. So after a while, they gave me a ticket. It was like, oh, you got a ticket or whatever. I never paid it to this day. So it's like, oh, if you have this, you can't get your driver's license or whatever. I'm like, okay, well, I moved out. So what? You get what I'm trying to say?
Hmm.
And my and a lot of police interactions, I'm saying, like, as far as since I've lived here in Philadelphia, has been zero because I I just go to work, I'll go home, and that's it.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, but the thing with that, ticket is that that's not gonna go away. I mean, that could be accumulating cost, and you could people get arrested for that, for an unpaid ticket. So I strongly urge you to
I mean, yeah,
not, yeah.
I mean, I would if I lived in New York, but then if I go to New York, it's not like okay, I'm gonna go there and everything like that. I don't have my New York City ID anymore, so I don't see
Mhm.
what's the point. You get what I'm trying to say? And plus, they were just giving out tickets for giving out tickets, and for me to go and like say, and the possible thing, like okay, if I do get whatever or anything like that, A, I'm just gonna show my Pennsylvania ID, and second of all, I haven't had a New York ID in ages, so yeah, I guess there won't be nothing to look up. It might be, it might not be. So
Mhm.
yeah,
No, but the thing is that officers, I mean, in patrol officers, they have a bit of a quota to fulfill. So they are looking they're looking for an excuse, whatever it is, to give out tickets because they have a monthly quota. By the end of each month, they kind of get a little more aggressive if they haven't met their quota. So I that's kind of like it's kind of like a point system. I mean,
yeah,
tickets accumulate into that point system that which can be exchanged for promotions and commendations, but arrest that adds more to the point system. I mean, and that gets officers promoted quicker. So they look for um, opportunities to do those things. I mean, if I can, they can get you to argue or something, and they can arrest you for it, and they can use an unpaid ticket as an excuse to try to arrest you because those things make the officer look good on his record. I mean,
yeah. Sometimes, like my personal thing, cops cops they'll actually try to incite you or provoke
fortunately,
you.
I haven't had.
Or
Yeah, fortunately, I haven't had that. I haven't had that situation, and hopefully, I'll never have to. I mean, because I try to stay as low key as possible. But my bad. I didn't mean to interrupt. Yeah. But like remaining calm and cool, and trying to stay off the radar because there are the types that will go around, drive recklessly, and they drive drunk, like somebody that happened to me, not to me, to somebody that worked with me, that I used to work with. A good guy, very responsible as his job, but messed up. He was drinking and driving and got arrested for it. And this is probably somebody that had never been in trouble easily, but he was drinking and got caught drinking and driving, and was arrested, lost his job. I don't know what ended up happening with him. Never heard of him again. But yeah, he can cost you. He can really cost you.
yeah, I mean, in that instance, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, as far as police provocation, I've had that happen. Like, for example, I remember it was like '04. I was coming out from my homie's baby shower, so it's just me and a couple of my friends, right?
Mhm.
So the way that it happened, the guys didn't announce that there was cops from the beginning. They just like, okay, hey, you MFer or whatever, right? So I'm walking and they just picked me out of, I guess I was the tallest one because most of my friends were short. So they was like, yo, and they were trying to go start a fight or whatever. I was like, all right, bet. We was about to go and get it cracking. Next thing you know, the guys went up and flashed that badge. I was like, all right. So they went up and they searched me. They was like, all right, do you have anything that you ain't supposed to got? I'm like, yeah, I got a knife. And then after that, after they searched me, they just let me go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that was like one instances of that. The next instance was, this was like when it was stop and search. I,
Yeah, I've
I,
heard about it. I've heard about it. Never had to deal with anything like that down here, but I've heard about it. I don't know if that's still a thing or.
I mean, I guess it's not really because of who's mayor and everything like that. Because
Mhm.
it was like a thing when it was. They say that Giuliani implemented it, and it was like, oh, the city is good and everything like that. But now everybody's complaining of the crimes or whatever the case may happen. It was like we need stop and search. But the bad thing about stop and search is that dude was actually targeting blacks and Latinos. It was
Right.
not targeting nobody else. And some of the murders that was actually happening, stop and search was not gonna do anything for that. I'm gonna keep it serious.
Mhm. Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, certain people still got shot, but then it was just I guess fewer. Now it's just they say it's crazy, and a lot of these young boys they got the toolies or whatever.
Mhm.
So it's just a crazy time in New York, and in Philly it's 10 times worse because young boys is jacking, and every so often you hear somebody getting shot you know or something's happening, and that's why I guess I don't really be hanging out at certain spots because it's like in Philadelphia, the cops they don't. I haven't had any interaction with the cops. Don't want any interaction with the cops. So I
Mhm.
just go to work, go to the gym, and go home. And then, if, in any occasion, just go on vacation. Because out here in Philadelphia, I guess there's certain places that you can hang, but then you don't want to hang at certain places at night.
Mhm. Mhm. Right. Right. No, no, definitely, definitely. I mean, I have heard about how in New York there are so many places that you don't want to be at a certain time in the evening, and kind of like by the same token, even where I'm at, because where I'm at is fairly quiet and it's in the North Dallas area, which is more industrial and it's quiet. It's fairly quiet. I mean, there are other parts of Dallas that are more that are not as safe. But I guess I don't need to party like that anymore. I don't need to be out and about late at night like that as I used to. Uh,
Right. And
but
it's like,
when it's later in the evening, you take more of a risk, including getting pulled over. Hmm.
right. It's getting to it's like I don't know the dynamics of Dallas or Houston, but
Hmm.
it's like to the point that ever since like certain people that actually been around in Philadelphia, they always tell me that Philadelphia has like a dark cloud about it because of all the stuff that has been going on ever since. The old gang wars and stuff. So that's what people have been saying.
Right, right. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So it's just I would say certain people say that certain stuff don't change, but then you have certain
Yeah,
people that
yeah.
always want to blame the Democrats for high crime. Those are hey,
Oh,
what
no,
is it?
but the thing is that's that kind of Owen shit because everything bad that happens always blame the Democrats. It's a big deflection because I mean you got red states, Republican states where there is a lot of crime in there too. So who you're gonna blame now then? I mean, I understand that Louisiana has been a red state for a long time, and New Orleans is hot as hell. I mean, when it comes to crime. I mean, I remember that one of a former Saints player got shot in the head. Somebody who was part of the Super Bowl team, he got shot in the head. His name was actually Will Smith. He was one of the defensive ends that went on the Super Bowl team for the Saints. He got shot in the head in New Orleans just because of a fender bender. He was stupid, stupid. Just because of a fucking fender bender. Now the son doesn't have his father. Yep. And this is in Louisiana, which is usually considered to be more of a conservative state, but crime is also rampant, and there are other states that are crazy uh, with crime. You can't blame the Democrats for that because these are red states. Like it's a big deflection. It's a deflection. Yes, there are Republican states that are rife with crime, but there are Republican states that are rife with crime too. They can't blame the Democrats for that. It's a bunch of garbage. The only difference is that the Republican, the red states, you live in one of them, at least you can protect yourself, because that's what I'm all for it, for self protection. If you can, I mean, if you have a clean record and you're a resident of the state that you can prove it, then look at the local laws when it comes to self protection. That's something that I advocate for. And I feel for you guys that are kind of like in this. Not you. I think in Philadelphia, you can protect yourself. But I feel for guys that are in New York State and they have all of these restrictions, but they're dealing with all this crime, and they just they just pass more restrictions and protections and make it more difficult for the law abiding to protect themselves. It doesn't make a lick of sense. A lick of sense. Well, I can't do highlighting on the comments, but something that Mulatto Vanguard was saying: obey the law always, no exceptions. And of course, when it comes to getting pulled over, of course. I mean, you can have always try and be in the best intentions to be cooperative within reason. Like all of a sudden, if they want to, they want to search your car for no real reason, then you can say, "Hey, I'm gonna need a warrant for that." Okay, that was his number one. Obey the law. Okay, yes. Number two, the public needs to be informed on police procedures. That's the thing. If there was like a way for people to have more of an access to that information, so they can be more informed, because a lot of people for the most part aren't informed when it comes to the police procedures. Number three, get involved with your local department by volunteering and getting familiar with the officers. Yeah, it's not a bad idea, but a lot of people are kind of like have such distrust of figures of authority like that. Yeah, it will be too much to ask for some of them. But I'm all for kind of like keep the courtesy when it comes to having interactions, to have the courtesy interaction with officers. I'm all for it. You don't have to be friends with them, but as long as you're gonna like not you know that you're not in the wrong, you're not doing anything wrong, that under normal conditions, then you should be fine. There shouldn't be an issue. Anybody who's listening, hit the link, Come on up. Let me see.
There's been a lot of people. I don't know about the New York standpoint or anything like that, but there have been a lot of people that that have been victims of police abuse, and certain people have they don't feel that justice don't they don't come in around that time, um or justice will be served at all because of I guess their social standing in life.
Well, that's why I keep saying, because a lot of people need to stop watching TV. They really think that if somebody starts breaking into their house, they can make a call and the cops are gonna show up immediately. Then that's not how it goes. That's not real life. That's not real life. That's why I advocate for protection. For people checking their laws on their states when it comes to being able to protect themselves with a firearm, because that's the first line of defense. It's the person.
Right.
It's the person in the house. That's the first line of defense. That's why I'm gonna keep saying it. I'm gonna keep advocating for it. It starts the first line of defense starts with the person.
Right.
It's a show me one. Show me one. What does that mean? Okay. It's cooking. All right.
Yeah, so when you was all right, talking about police abuse, when you was growing up in Puerto Rico, did you ever come across a corrupt cop or have people in your family ever across corrupt cops? Because I've heard of stories.
I didn't. I didn't. But I do have a one of my stepbrothers that he was in the local police. He was in the local police, and yeah, he knew things. He knew. He told me like a couple of stories about uh, officers being corrupted, but not so much being abusive towards the public. It was using their badge for criminal activity. And I know somebody who used to be like a prosecutor. So as you know, prosecutors are law enforcement, also part of law enforcement. And he told me a couple of stories on how it will be cop on cop crime. That is a thing. Somebody that didn't want to go along with the corruption that other officers were dealing with, then they could get deleted themselves. Oh yeah,
Yeah, I've heard that on several occasions.
yeah.
I mean that have happened in the United States. Is
Hmm.
either they get deleted themselves or they'll have like a rival gang delete that officer. So therefore they could try to take that officer's position or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, yeah. But I have heard about that happening back home. So it's scary. That shit's scary because these are the people that the law abiding will count on for help, and they're also criminals with a badge. That's scary.
I mean, it is scary, but I mean, there's been several instances that I've heard of law enforcement's actually robbing you know how should I say, profits from street pharmacists. So
Oh, yeah.
they rob the profits of pharmacists, and this is actually a current thing within certain how should I say police forces, like in mega cities in the United States, that they
Hmm.
actually rob street pharmacists of their product. And when they actually rob them street pharmacists of their product, they're like, okay, we just they just do what they do, take it up as evidence or whatever. But then sometimes they're not. There's been cases that they haven't taken the money, or I guess narcotics or pharmaceutical things as evidence. So certain
Hmm.
people have been it's like very hard to actually catch some of these officers raking in the profits from the robbery of street pharmacists.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah.
And there is nothing new. There is nothing new to that. I mean, like for example, if you have seen the movie American Gangster, there's a whole scene where this special investigations unit, they will use the badge, they will go into the evidence lockup, and they will use their badge to get evidence in narcotics out of it, and then they will process the narcotics and sell it for profit. You know, and that was like in the 70s or something like that. The shit like that happening back then. So nothing
Yeah.
new to it. I'm sure it was happening for real. I mean, it was a
I mean,
movie,
I
yeah, but
mean
I'm
even
sure that
but
the
there was,
movie was based on. Uh-huh.
but then I was reading that there were certain parts of that movie American Gangster that was embellished. Like for example,
Of
um
course.
yeah,
Hmm.
like for example, the cops harassing Frank Frank Lucas and everything like that. I mean, if
Hmm.
you actually read the whole story, it never really happened.
Hmm.
And the part that he went to Vietnam, they say it never really happened either. And the true story is that Frank Lucas was not really articulate at all. He didn't know how to read, and the only thing that he actually did was if it was $1 million, he just had it weighed. But as far as I guess until he passed away, that man did not know how to read at all.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, but that doesn't mean that he didn't have what it takes to run the business, because you could say the same thing about somebody like Floyd Mayweather. I understand that he can't read too well himself, or R. Kelly, and look at them, look at them.
Well, well, Arco is the worst example. Look where he's at right
It
now.
is about a bad example if you take away the whole thing about the convictions. But even though he wasn't very good at reading, he could still write the hell out of a song. Yeah, not a great example given where he's at right now, but yeah, still has a catalog of like what 1,000 songs.
Yeah, he might. But then the thing is, though, this is what messed up a lot of artists too. If you
Hmm.
actually look at it, right, you have certain people that do not that you can have a catalog and stuff, but you don't. If you don't actually own anything, what good is that catalog? You're actually making another person rich. You're not making yourself rich. And people say, "Oh, this is how the business is." No, you if by a certain amount of time, you should actually acquire your own publishing and whatsoever. So therefore, if God forbid anything happens to you, your family could actually eat off what of your hard work.
Hmm.
But certain people don't think like that, and they just want to be an employee. So
Well, that situation, that's something that had happened with the very best of them, because I remember that situation with Prince shortly before he passed away, which was very suspect. He had already re-signed with Warner Brothers for a whole new contract, And the thing is that he didn't have access to like his masters for like 30 years, which is ridiculous. And I remember Prince back in the 1990s. He legally changed. I didn't know what that was about back then at that time. A lot of people were saying that he was just being eccentric because he stopped using the name Prince and he changed his name to a symbol. And then he started being known as the artist formerly known as Prince. But the thing is that the him changing his name to a symbol that didn't have a pronunciation, there was a legality. It was because of legalities, because he legally couldn't use his own name.
Right.
So, and that's something that I didn't understand that until years later. Because later on, I became more informed as to the beef that he was having with Warner Brothers and
Mm-hmm.
why he couldn't use his own name. A lot of people were making it seem like he was just being eccentric, and he changed his name to a symbol so that people could keep so that he could keep people's his name out of people's mouths and things like that. Not at all. That's not what it was. It was because of legalities. Legally, Warner Brothers have put some kind of restriction on the use of his name, of his stage name, and that's
Mm-hmm.
why he had to change his name legally to a symbol so that he could get to work um, and do his touring and concerts and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
See, yeah, because the business is bullshit. I mean, as long as if an artist can keep his shit as independent as possible, they might be better off. I
Yeah.
mean, but a lot of artists they sign up with these large labels, and I have heard about the 360 deals that allegedly are so bad because I mean it's almost guaranteed that you're gonna end up broke. Um, because they get most of the profits, whatever, most of the streaming and things like that. The first time that I started kind of like understanding that a little bit was with what happened with TLC.
Yeah.
And they had that program in which they were talking about the bankruptcy, even though they had sold like 10 million albums back in the mid 90s. And on that program, Left Eye, who is the member that passed away, she started talking about something along the lines that this is how you can sell 10 million albums and be broke. Now everybody get ready to do your math. And she started breaking it down. What happened? And I was like, wow, wow. It's like it's slavery, because at the end you only end up with like a few $1,000s, even though you sell millions. It wasn't in the 90s. In the 90s, you could sell millions of albums, but still end up with only like a few $1,000s because everybody else has to eat before the artist. That's how those contracts are structured. The producers, executive producers, I mean, accountants, lawyers, and on top of that, the taxes. I mean, the whatever
Mm-hmm.
profit there were, a lot of people had to get their cut before the artists, and sometimes the artists don't get much in the end. And when that I heard that thing broken down, it was like, wow, that was very, very eye opening. I didn't know that it was that bad.
When I was in high school, right, and there was a teacher that explained me Prince's situation.
Hmm.
After a while, even though that I have made a track or whatever, and I'm in the process of making my own music company, I could
Hmm.
actually say that I never signed a contract and nor want to, because it's to the point that certain people are just out to get their is out to get their paycheck, and if you don't read the actual contract or whatsoever, you might
Mhm.
be screwed out of a lot of money that you're actually entitled to.
Yeah. Yeah. I have heard some stories about how a lot of artists get screwed over, and there are a lot of a lot of money that they're not told about by the record companies, and they keep it to themselves, and they don't pay their artists like they're supposed to, and they start stalling them after they have done their part in the contractual obligations, but the record company don't pay them, and they start stalling them, and they start making excuses. And it's like, ah, damn, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Yeah,
It's just better to kind of like doing things independent, apparently. Hmm. That's how it. Apparently, that's how it is.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's to the point that certain people that I've seen, they haven't, I guess it's cutthroat business, and they say that the financial protected class will screw you over and this, that, and the third. And talking about certain individuals, as you know, in Don Jose's dream,
Mm-hmm.
the circus.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny
Yeah,
when you have,
I heard a
yeah,
little bit about it. Mm-hmm.
yeah. It's funny that you have certain people, that advocate that they want that they support police and everything like that, as long as they're not being harmed. They actually support cop police brutality because it enriches their work belief about racism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. But you're talking about racism when it comes to what? I didn't hear that part.
I was saying that certain racists, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm well, in all communities, but I'm talking about certain racists that actually support the cops and everything like that. I'm talking about the professional racists.
Oh.
They actually support police brutality because it actually reaffirms their warped racist views about people.
Mm. Okay. Yeah. 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 Well, there are certain systems in place. Also, when it comes to the cops themselves, and legally they are allowed to lie on people, and they're protected, and there is a certain immunity that they have, and allow them to operate in a way that they're screwing people over. So that's something that one has to be like really conscious about. It's messed up, but
Exactly.
the courts. I mean, they can lie on the stand, and you can't, but they can. It's your word against theirs, and the courts are always going to side with the cops, even if they're lying. So it can be very uphill, huh? An uphill battle. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny, right? And I've seen certain stuff, which I which I guess it's in my case funny, is
Mm-hmm.
that you have certain people that will be that they'll be so quick to call a person a criminal, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yet they couldn't but yet they always spews criminal actions online or something like that. So my thing is this: if a guy says certain stuff which is not manly or whatever, right?
Mm.
And you know we're just talking about certain people that they just want that whenever they have an argument or whatsoever, they always want to refer to a person's significant other because they think that it's their form of weakness or whatever. So my
Mhm.
thing is this: if a guy keeps going around and saying referring to other people's significant others and everything like that, while their hairline is being pushed back or whatever, my
Mhm.
thing is that guy or people might or might not have violator tendencies, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why it's like, okay. That's why I'm like, it's funny on how certain people they actually portray themselves as a pillar of the community when the fact is their actions.
Yeah, the
um
actions say otherwise, you mean?
yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. There are people that are hypocrites or that are leading a double life, and you just never know. You just never know with them what they're really about. What when it comes to them in private, behind closed doors, you don't know what is it that they're about. What is it that they're up to? Yeah,
Right.
it's hard to tell. It is hard to tell.
Hmm.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
It's getting to the point that it's very getting tiring when when it's like, I guess people could do all the police marching and everything like that,
Mhm.
but then when it's actually centered on people who actually do this and everything, but all the people who are talking about police violence and everything like that are staying shut with the deletion of this young man.
Mhm.
And with that said, it's like, okay, you're having a double standard, and then it goes back to a verse up in NWA, F the police,
Mhm.
saying that that's a black guy showing off for a black cop showing off for the white cop. So
Yeah.
so that man, I'm just saying, apparently didn't have to have his life deleted. So my thing is that people have shown the videos and everything like that, but where's going to be the convictions? You get what I'm trying to say? When's going to be everything? Because people are actually getting beat for just recording police, which is not right. But I've seen people getting arrested just for recording the police ill treating people, and then
Mm.
when they get arrested, they'll be like, "Oh, you wasn't supposed to do that." Okay, where? When the fact is, you're recording for your safety.
Mhm. Mhm. No, well. If you look into it, there has already been Supreme Court decisions that say that it's perfectly fine to record the police. It's just that you just have to keep your distance. You
Yeah,
can't get you can't get too close with because then the police can claim that you are obstructing, that you are causing some kind of obstruction,
exactly.
and that's the part that you don't want. If you keep a certain distance, you can record. They can't say shit.
Yeah, like there was a guy that they showed a video on World Star the other day that there was a man that actually a man or a woman that recorded a cop. The cop went and skipped and just, oh, you can't do that, and proceeded to arrest that person just because of that they were recording that cop action.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. But legally, there is a Supreme Court decision already on that, and it's supposed to be okay. It's just that, and that's not something that is really negotiable like that. Okay, that an officer might have a problem with it, but well, they can have a problem with it. And the Supreme Court said that it's okay. Just keep your distance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, when was the last time you went to Puerto Rico?
Well, last time I went to Puerto Rico, that was uh, back in April, at the end of April, because I had to go there. But later on, I want to be able to go to the island, if not this year, maybe next year. But it's gonna be for leisure. It's gonna be for leisure. Last time that I went, I had to, yeah,
Yeah.
because of my loss and all.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's how should I say? It's just a crazy time, I could actually say, when you actually deal with the loss,
Mm-hmm.
because you know it it takes some time to heal. I could actually say that, but you will heal.
Yeah, I know. It's just that I don't know. I don't know how long it's gonna take me the longest for that to happen. But yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, and then talking about healing, certain people, when who are victims of police abuse, they don't have that's why they don't have trust in law enforcement. And then you have certain people that, oh, you're you're y'all the problem, and without listening to that person's viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And when you actually say about your story and stuff, certain people, they just want to blindly follow authority or whatever, and they don't know, and they don't understand of that person's suffering, or they are indifferent to that person's suffering just because of their political affiliations or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
You know? And it's getting to the point that certain people are just really getting fed up with it. They like, I mean the people that feel that justice will never come to them, or the justice system is rigged. So my thing is that, okay, what should those people do if they actually feel that the justice system is rigged? Should they have different police, not police, I mean political affiliations? Should
Well,
they just move out their community?
nobody wants to nobody wants to have to do that, having to move out of their community. But maybe maybe do look for some type of representative that will actually um, somebody in office, somebody in political office that will actually look after their interests. I know it's difficult. I know.
Yeah.
Uh, to be able to find somebody in office that will actually look after their interests, it might take, okay, giving a donation here and there. That could very well be part of it. But yeah, who really trusts a politician these days?
Yeah. It's like for me, right?
Hmm.
If a person they want to push their political affiliation, right? There's one thing I don't understand about certain people.
Hmm.
Now, people could get me wrong or anything like that, but
Hmm.
if you have a political, if you're always touting your political affiliation or whatsoever, right?
Hmm.
But yet I see that you have no physical benefits due to your political association. I don't see certain people that go the extra mile, if you know what I mean. Like for example, you guys you have certain people that like, yes, I'm this, but yet they're not actually contributing or anything like that of what they're doing. And most of the stuff that they're doing is because of a twisted hatred what the person's actually doing. So with that, they just try to make racist claims, but try to sound educated while doing it. Me
Right.
personally, I'm not for the double talk or anything like that. If you're a racist, just come out, just say it. Don't go and try to make pseudo educational arguments about what you are and who you are or anything like that. Because at the end of the day, we're not going to believe you. I'm just gonna put it out there
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's to the point that certain people are just getting fed up with it, with all the injustice that's happening.
Hmm. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, it doesn't spill into something that we're into a situation that we don't want. We
I
have seen
mean,
it in recent years how it can get out of hand, and then you get riots and
yeah,
people breaking and burning shit up, and but in the end you don't get results and stuff. So let's hope that it doesn't get out of hand. I hope it
yeah.
doesn't get out of hand.
I mean, to me, is this right? Right? Like my thing is that riots and everything like that are actually counterproductive.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm just gonna actually say that. The reason why I say that is because as it being counterproductive, right?
Hmm.
You could you could actually being counterproductive is because you'll be reinforcing all the stereotypes that these racist or and prejudice people have of you.
Hmm.
So with all these riots and everything, I see people having riots and they're destroying their own communities. But then again, I understand because certain people do not own anything in their community.
Hmm.
So as a public or or as a resident, for people that feel that the justice system has not always been on their side as far as and the representatives don't work, what
Hmm.
should a person can legally do to protect their loved ones and themselves in the future from certain things like this happening?
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Actually, Armando, in a few minutes, I'm gonna be doing my own live stream. So
I know.
I'm gonna be stepping out because I have a couple of last minute things to set up to get ready.
Got you. If if this stream doesn't go like after an hour, or if I don't have any guests,
Hmm.
I might just pop in. So
Yeah, sure, sure, because it's a common subject, a fairly universal subject for for us guys. So, and this is something that I also, if there are any ladies listening to this, feel free to come by. And on my channel, Introvert Boricua, I'm gonna be doing a stream about the power or the perceived power of the box, if you know what I mean. So that's
yeah,
something that I would like for ladies to call out, because it seems that lately there has been some talk about that, about the power of the box. So I want to hear about it. I have my own take on that, but I want to hear others' take on it. So I'm just gonna step out and appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on your panel.
yep,
And if you can come on by and give your take. Check it out.
exactly.
All right. All right. Appreciate it.
You too.
Yeah, I'm back. I had to make like well, I had to eat something. So yeah, I'm back. I had to. So within everybody's topic about police abuse, I'm actually waiting for anybody that have been victims of police abuse or is against it or for it. I just want to have like a general conversation. That's all. All right. So you believe that police should lose their jobs and have 30-year convictions. I see that. So what are your thoughts on the court of law of them actually doing that? I mean, you're actually right. It actually does suck that certain people with badges are getting away with murder, so to say, and people are actually suffering because of that. Does anybody have a direct solution to that? I would actually agree if it was a perfect world. The prosecution of rogue police officers could be a thing.
I would actually agree if it was
So Hey, come through if you can. So, anybody who's watched, because I'm still talking about police brutality. Still open forum right here. And I'll actually put the link. right. I'll be waiting for some guests to actually come through. Put the link in. We could talk about anything. But other than that, we're just talking about what can we do about police brutality in our respective communities. Yeah, I'm still waiting for certain guests to come through so we could actually talk about, police brutality. Yeah, maybe in another hour or so I will wrap this up. Yeah. Okay. I'll post the link in the description right here. Come through. Yeah. Just have to make it a little bit dark, Don't want to everybody have well, yeah. So I'm just waiting for a guest to come through. Just waiting for my special guest to come through. So let's see. All right. Yep. Still waiting for that guest to come through. So I don't know what's happening. I guess certain people, you know, have their service or whatever. So hey, how you doing?
Hey Don, how you doing tonight? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
You can you hear me good or no?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, okay. What's going on?
No, I'm just having a stream because with the recent happenings of that young man being unalived by the police and everything. So I just want to get everybody's views or their experiences if they've been harassed by the police like in similar manners, or it could be like police could roll up on you with insults, etc. Because me living in New York, growing up as a young man, I've actually have encountered that several times.
Yeah, I haven't ever I mean, I wouldn't say I ever encountered that, but what I would say is that when I have gone to the police for help, they haven't been very helpful. So basically, different things that happen, they would not really like pursue, anything that happened. So, like, like let's say some people broke my car windows a couple of times. There was like a street where people used to break everybody's car windows, and I guess there was no parking, so I had to park there one night. And they broke my car
Right.
windows, and when I talked to the police about it, they were very nonchalant, were like, "Well, oh, who cares?" You know, um, and then just other things like somebody stole some stuff from me, and I tried to fill out a report, and they're basically like, "Who cares?" They don't really pursue, criminal activity, which it probably seems like you're talking about police brutality, and people, police kind
Right.
of treating men of color very rough. But I feel like when it's women of color, they basically don't, to me, they don't really provide us with any kind of justice, So it's like poor treatment in a different way, if that makes any sense. You know, if somebody commits a crime against you, they don't do anything about it. So,
Yeah, I mean, I've actually have heard similar instances not only in New York, but I've talked to friends like within down south and other areas of the United States. And
mhm.
certain law enforcement, they actually treat people with that was that instance. And then it's like they get mad when a person actually could do their job better than they can. Like maybe the FBI or something.
Right. Yeah, they would get upset if somebody came in over their head and dictated how they needed to handle a case, because they're caught up in being like the boss or the authority. So when something happens, they make it as if like their action is the final action, you know, and sometimes they'll ignore the fact that there's a legal system, you know, judge, jury, court system where that's their job. So, like, in other words, it's not really the police's job to make the decisions about who lives and
Right.
dies. It's really the court system's job, but they'll take matters into their own hands, in low income area, men of color.
And and then there'll be the judge, jury, and executioner.
Exactly. So, but in this case with this man, it was very hard for me to see the video. So, what it looked like is they were trying to pin him down and he was avoiding being pinned down. And they were starting to get frustrated and angry.
Right.
And then when they did some maneuver, he ran away. So, I think that just him running away like a really long distance or something, I don't know. I think that might have been, the final straw. And somebody was, one
I
of those
mean,
officers was in a, sometimes I feel like they have like a rage and they take it out on the public, and then their colleagues aren't going to say
yeah.
anything about it. You know what I mean? They're going to stand by as that person is, taken out. So, But I don't know, like,
I mean, it's
was he stopped for a reason, or you know what I mean?
I mean, the only thing that I could actually say that I have seen was that
Mm-hmm.
they went up and it just how should I say, certain people were posting on the internet that that these men, they actually were beating this man because of a personal thing, meaning that this guy's ex, who's his baby mother or something, was in a relationship with this guy, and then they just stopped him for no reason and beat him up. But then that turned out to be fake because fact checkers went up and tried to write a strike on me about that. So that was
Yeah, well then
the thing.
I wouldn't you know what the problem is though? I mean, you will never get the full story. I mean, I've had people like I remember one day I was working at this place and a bunch of people came in and said that there was a problem on um one of those, how they have these buses sometimes where they're kind of like illegal buses and they pick everybody up illegally and you pay $1. Oh, they're called dollar vans. Okay, so
Yeah.
someone was the driver of the dollar van was unalived, and all of the people who were coming in to the place, where I was working, they had all ran off of this dollar van, and they were saying that he was taken out because he asked a person for their dollar and they didn't want to give it to him, and this was the story of multiple people. But when it was printed up in the paper, they claimed that the person was taken out because a rival dollar van driver didn't like them. So I was
I
like, that is
mean,
a completely different story than what all of these people were saying. You know what I mean?
talking about that. Well, when you actually talk about New Jersey, because I actually lived there for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
One day I was actually looking at a report because in Second Street you have the vans that you might pay like maybe $3 or so you over the bridge and such. So when you actually take that van or whatever, they were showing like the drivers actually getting into fights, pulling each other and everything like that, just
Mm-hmm.
be just because of fares or they're going company whatever, who are taking these people out or something. So my thing
Mm-hmm.
is that like with rival drivers, I have seen that it's been a case of people who actually been doing that. I mean, ever since the inception of people who have been driving buses and taxis. So and heard of people who actually partake in that quote unquote, you could call it nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's it's my fight to tell you the truth.
Right. But I don't. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, things can happen, and
So, so how's the weather out there up in New York? It's still cold out there, right?
well, I don't. I mean, I don't live in New York anymore. I live about maybe like 2, 3 hours away. Um, I live near there. I used to long
Oh, okay.
ago. I was there for a little while. I kind of
Yeah,
lived in a lot of different cities,
exactly
so
correct.
yeah, I had that experience. I lived in a lot of different cities in
Oh,
the
okay.
U.S. just because.
Was it like your profession that?
Um, it was my parents, so my parents have moved several places, so I moved, and
All right.
then when
I'm
I
in,
got yeah, when I got older,
I lived in different cities also. Well,
yeah, when I got older, I decided to,
yeah.
move around a little bit. So, my next move, I don't know, I want to check out Florida, but I feel like every time I've been there, I've seen things that make me say like, I don't know if this is really the place I want to go to. But I had been in California for a while, and I remember, I wanted to move permanently out there, but it's like it was so much homelessness that I was like not really interested in living out there. Even in like even if you live in a really nice place, like an expensive place, a block or two away is like tons of homeless people. So, I just felt like it wasn't really safe,
I
and
mean,
that's when
yeah,
I was by myself. So, yeah, go ahead.
yeah. I mean, I've always, I've always wanted to at least live in Florida. So I mean, at the time, so at least I could have been closer to the Dominican Republic. But
Right.
now, since both of my parents they have passed away, I might want me and my wife we might be thinking about maybe moving upper Pennsylvania, but then we don't know like what the environment's like. So it's like me and my wife we actually talk about stuff because certain people are moving out of Pennsylvania because I mean Philadelphia because of the hate, I guess. So certain people just like, hey, I gotta move out of here or whatever. I mean the long time residents. I mean I just only have 6 years, so I can't really say anything about it because I can't really say, hey, I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, but I communicate with people, and the only thing I'll be like, okay, I'll go, I'll go out with my wife, go to the movies or whatever, and that's it. I just don't really be doing the club scene or something out here. Now, if it was New York, I would actually do the club scene, well, the Spanish club scene, for example, because I say that's lit. I've been to black clubs, Jamaican clubs, and other clubs, but I know that if I'm in a Spanish club, I know that most of the times is mostly security and everything like that. And second of all, if you mind your business, everybody minds their business. It's not like in other clubs that if somebody sees you and you're because somebody's drunk. I mean, it happens in a lot of clubs, but it will rarely happen in a Hispanic club unless there's an actual beef that's going on, so to say.
Right. Well, I'm sorry to hear about your parents, and I was wondering when you were saying like people were moving out of Pennsylvania, you were saying they were moving out because of the hate that they get in Pennsylvania. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, it's not so much. It's not so much the hate. What, like in Philadelphia, a lot of people, and it seems like each year that everybody's trying to up the murder rate each year. And the thing
Oh, I
is, though, it's
see.
like out here in not Pennsylvania, I mean Philadelphia. You have like the real ritzy area that used to be like okay, which we call Market Street or Central City, per to say. Well, but okay, you didn't really see anybody sleeping on the streets or anything like that. But now, I guess ever since the pandemic and such, you will actually see more people sleeping on the streets. Nobody's doing anything about more intravenous drug use. I remember one
Oh,
time I was
wow.
going to New York, Philadelphia to New York, and when I was going to the train station out there,
There was a guy that actually had like a whole bunch of needs and issues, and it's like nobody's really doing anything. Matter of fact, in my opinion, it's like the law is actually helping certain people who are actually drug abusers, meaning that okay, like if they were to OD or something like that, they have like some Narcan or whatsoever the case may be, and it's like what certain people are just fed up of or just ODing and their
Yeah.
communities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Actually
know
be
what you're
why a
saying.
lot of people are actually getting out of here because of the negative topic, like like the criminal cultures right here. They also like gang, and then they say like, okay, everybody's in the, but it's not. But the gangs in Philadelphia is not like the gangs like in other major cities. Gangs usually just a whole bunch of guys that don't know
Mm-hmm.
nothing. They just have how should I say fire, have weapons, and then they actually go at each other because of either a perceived disrespect or over money. And then the this the and then they have like a little rap scene too where they actually disrespect people's dead ones, I guess, in the streets or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually making a lot of the beefs worse. So, and then on top of it, there's a term which I guess is being used over these states called backdoored, meaning that you just set somebody up to be unalived. So
Oh wow.
yeah. So therefore, there's a lot of things, and I'll be like, I thank God I ain't even know.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of hard to live in that environment, where you just don't know if it's safe, Like that sounds like it's difficult to live in that environment, you know? I don't know. I mean, can you hear me or no? I think your I think your internet is lagging or your internet is going out. I don't know if you're still in the same location, but yeah, that sounds very scary. I really have shied away from areas like that where you just feel like a general sense of not being safe because honestly, you're feeling that way for a reason. And you have to trust your instincts. Um, there's a lot of people out here that just not good people, and you don't want to wait until it's too late for you know something to happen. And there's nothing you can really do about it. But I just want to come up and for a little while and support and come check you out. Um, it's been a very, very long week. I've had some interesting things going on for myself, but I did want to stop by and like shout you out. But yeah, I think your internet is out.
Yeah,
Oh, it was out. Yeah, you could tell it was out, right?
yeah, I know. So therefore,
Yeah, it keeps going out. It
yeah, and
went
a
out
lot of
again.
times that there is music that there's actually being played. So I said therefore remove mute.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, because I can't hear you. Like
And
you're breaking up and
and
sound
I'm
like a robot and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking about just getting myself a condenser mic or something like that because so at least I don't have to go through that or something. And I'm about to actually close out because it's about to get late and everything like that. And then tomorrow I'll try to have another stream. Mostly it's in Spanish, so I'm gonna try to actually get some of my Spanish contacts into talking about what we could do as as the movement. Because prior to me just having open topics and everything like that, I'm not gonna go around and say because I'm really in it, but I actually follow the Dominican urban movement, which is in New York and Dominican Republic. So my whole thing is like, okay, what we can do better, and then also I'm promoting two or three of my cousins who actually rap out there in the Dominican Republic
Right. That's
for
cool.
American audiences because sometimes you can make a rapper or rap or anything like that, but then if you don't have the right promotion, you're not going to get the right exposure.
Yeah.
So that's my thing.
Yeah. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Hmm.
But yeah, I just wanted to come shout you out.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and I don't know what else to say. I'm trying to do
it's
this
all good.
Black History thing, this Black History Month thing in my Discord,
Right.
and but for the Black History Month,
Got
I'm
you.
celebrating different mixed race people that were, usually they'll be a part of Black History Month, like, you know, Frederick Douglass or Malcolm X. Usually they'll be a part of Black History Month. But I was going to ask some of the Discord um, members, if you guys would like to, each of you maybe contribute, like each of you can contribute maybe one a day, so pick a person from uh, Black history that's a mixed race person and just share it in the Discord just for the monthly theme for February. Um, and Discord,
Right.
so the way I like to do it is I actually want to start changing the format to people contributing like articles, photographs, or Twitter responses, comments, clips. Everyone can contribute a little every day, and to comment on each other's clips that they put in, something thought out, and also to
Right.
upvote, people's comments, and I'm just trying to start from there because I got a lot of different kinds of people in there. At first, it was just going to be for video sharing, but it changed because I mean, if you're just doing video sharing, nobody's gonna like watch those videos because
Yeah.
it's just too many of them. So, I just want to keep it more
Got
high
you.
participation. Yeah, more high participation. And then, maybe we can take turns trying to share each other, so like one person a day can be featured by me, since I'm the owner of the Discord. I will try to feature, one
Yeah.
of the content creators in the Discord, but it's actually not easy. I see you guys got a Discord now. Good luck with it. I'm sorry to laugh so loud, but
I mean, I got a
it's
Discord. I got a Discord, but it's like I mean, I got a Discord, but the thing is, though, I'm still trying to see how to use it. So hopefully, if I actually use it for whatsoever, I might just how should I say learn how to use it because I'm still very new to Discord, and then on top of it, you know, it's like okay, what should I do with this Discord? How should I do this or now whatsoever the case may be? So I'm still learning about Discord. Tell you the truth. But it's a very good
Well, I would
thing to
start.
have.
Yeah, I would start. I would start out on another bigger Discord, right? So I used to be on another lady's Discord that
Right.
had a big Discord, and maybe I participate in one channel all the time, and invite a couple of people, and then as you
Right.
get more, um,
Mm-hmm.
as it, sometimes Discords get too big. As you get too big, you have like 20 people, 10 people, then you make your own, So, you're welcome to invite your friends to my Discord, and post a link in your community tab if you want to. I try to create a Latino section, and even within that section, even for Black History Month, there are some Latinos that are often featured for Black History Month, like Arturo Schomburg. I know for a fact is a huge one.
Yeah.
Celia Cruz is another one,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
Yeah, so
There's another
but you
one
do it
that
like that.
um,
Mhm. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, because the thing is though, I'll actually try to put certain people which that actually who are in the Latino community that actually contributed to Black history as well. So I actually have several others, but that's what I'm gonna put. This is what I'm gonna do because I'm about to wrap up and the wife she wants some snuggle time, so yeah, so
Yeah,
it was nice. It was nice, talking to you, future. So
right. Yeah, it was
hopefully
good
we could
talking to you
have
as well.
this again because yeah. So I'm gonna have go. Yeah.
Okay, all right. It was good talking to you as well.
All right.
All right, have a good evening.
Thank you. Yeah. As this was a good stream because I actually talked to certain people about, I guess, the police happenings or whatsoever. I may have not wanted to talk to a lot of people that I wanted to talk, but hopefully I'm about to head out. Please tune in again to Open Topics with Don Armando or Historias Urbanas con Don Armando. So stay tuned. Peace. I'm out.